Le dernier exposé est celui de M. Siemens de Berlin et de Pierre-Yves Antier de Cham de Lyon. Madame Autran.
Hello, Bjoern.
Hello, good afternoon.
We can see you on screen. Hello,
Perfect.
Thanks for joining us today. We were very late. We are very sorry about it, but it was very interesting to discuss with everyone before. So Pierre should be on the screen too, so that you can present and share, yes, your what you think about what was said before and about CareSyntax in particular. Thank you. I give you the speech now.
Merci Mélanie. Je vais faire le lien avec Bjoern. Si vous avez des questions, n'hésitez pas à les poser en français, je m'occuperai de la traduction, ou Mélanie pourra le faire. L'idée de cette dernière session, c'était de pouvoir vous présenter effectivement CareSyntax. Mais au-delà de CareSyntax, ce que fait CareSyntax dans d'autres juridictions, notamment aux États-Unis, avec l'American Robotic Surgery, et également pouvoir en tout cas partager quelques spécificités et pourquoi cet attelage de l'assureur et de la technologie au bénéfice de votre profession. Bjoern, maybe can you present us in some few words and some few slides CareSyntax?
Yes, absolutely. I can do that. And it's first of all, maybe before we start the presentation, thank you so much for letting me participate. I do understand French. My French isn't very well unspoken, but it was very interesting discussion, and I can only congratulate you on the way that the topics of surgical risks and medical errors are discussed here. It seems to be a very great forum and an amazing approach. So I'm very honored to be able to present and talk with Pierre-Yves a bit about our technology that assists surgeons around the world in addressing and managing surgical risks. So I will speak a bit about the company and our background, and then I think we have kind of a discussion with Pierre-Yves. So our mission, what do we do? We are making surgery safer and smarter, and we do this by providing digital tools, so software and data that empower surgeons, hospitals, and insurers. So that's what CareSyntax does, and we do have a track record, so we are not a startup anymore. We have been around for 8 years already in the surgical industry, so we have about 3,000 operating rooms with our software installed and our solutions installed. So that means our software and data is supporting about 2 million procedures per year. Most of these cases are in the United States and in Germany, but we're also growing quite quickly now in throughout Europe together with Relyens and Cham, in France, in Spain, Italy. And we have about 150 specialists and are developing quite quickly in terms of our growth as a group. So this is just to give you a background on the management team. So I think what's very important to highlight is we have an interdisciplinary approach. So we have surgeons that are board-certified surgeons that are part of our team. We have technologists, and we also have people with deep risk management and insurance expertise. So we're kind of bridging between the surgical and medical frontline practice and the technology as well as the risk management. And that's really our niche as a company and as a team where we focus on. So we do nothing else but that. So what is the vision? And I think Professor Libert already outlined that better than I can do, and some other of the previous speakers did. But basically, what we see and what we observe is that in a lot of industries and a lot of places. Digitalization and integration has already led to reduction of human errors, and this is one example is the airline industry, where everything is recorded and every error is systematically analyzed and then globally shared, and basically through that we can see the incidence of problems dropping, because every time something goes wrong it's systematically analyzed and learned from. And then of course there's a lot of systems that are assisting a pilot, and so there's a lot of support systems that make it easier to fly, or that make it easier to conduct very difficult automation operations in industry. And those systems are also not really yet available in surgery, so that there's not a lot of digital support for the surgeon. On the contrary, it's still an environment in which a lot of the responsibility is borne and has to be borne on the shoulders of the surgeons. And that's something that we think can change by introducing tools that support the surgeons and that provide a kind of digital safety net or digital assurance system for surgery. Just quickly on the development of the technology in the company. So as I said, we're in the operating room since over 10 years, and we started out mainly with visualization. So video is one of the key data sources that we have. Then we went into the integrated operating room in 2012 and created systems that are in the operating room supporting the surgeons every day in the management of the workflow. And then we added decision support systems around that that we will talk a bit more about in the next slides. And of course, everybody, and it was mentioned before, is talking about how can automation and AI help in the operating room. So how can we support intraoperatively by providing tools through machine learning or through machine vision, for example, a support system that can help identify automatically a more risky procedure from a less risky procedure, or that can help prevent errors. And that's something that we are very actively working on, and where we have first prototypes that are already in the market, and that we will continue developing together with innovation centers such as the BOPA, but also with close collaboration, for example, with the University of Strasbourg. So with these very innovative hospitals and surgeons, we're working on advancing these programs. So we saw this picture beforehand, but basically what it shows you, we are a platform company and we have a platform solution. And what is very important is that we are vendor neutral. So our system can run in any operating room and with any devices that you already use. And that's very useful because you don't need to change the infrastructure, or you don't need to change how you're working at the moment. But the only thing that changes is essentially that there's a digital assistance system that can use during the surgery, but also after the surgery, both to analyze, for example, video content that is captured, but also efficiency information. And all of that flows into this surgical record that is a very comprehensive record. So it's similar to what you have in an airplane, which is the high fidelity overview, both from a video side, but also machine information, checklists, vitals, anesthesia data. So everything in one place to be able to kind of analyze on a one case basis, but also analyze multiple cases and compare them to, in essence, to improve the quality of care. So, before we go into the discussion, just some interesting research and facts that our solution brings to the surgeons that it uses, so that that use the CareSyntax platform. So what we see is if there's a systematic review of cases and video, we see dramatic improvements of the scoring of surgeons, so the OSAT scores, the quality of surgery goes up. We see, of course, a lot of savings potential, so a lot of time savings and also cost reduction. And we see also a reduction of complications and post-surgical complications and deaths through the use of this technology, systematic use of this technology. And yeah, as I said beforehand, we have some interesting publications and interesting algorithms that we developed based on the data that we have that are already published in scientific peer-reviewed journals, and that we will bring into the market together with Relyens to improve the quality of care and to support the surgeon during the surgery.
Thank you, Bjoern. I think there was one question about robotic surgery. Are you able to connect with robots and surgical robots?
Yes, we are able to connect with surgical robots. So what the data that we collect, as I said, it's a vendor-neutral platform, so we collect the data from a robotic system, but we can also collect the anesthesia data. So the video that is recorded from the robot or the kinesthetic data is also connected.
Thank you. Bjoern, I have two questions for you. For two questions. The first one is, can you give us some feedbacks about what you are currently doing with the American Board of Surgery, maybe to feed l'Académie nationale de chirurgie en France? And why you decided to partner with Relyens, for instance?
Yes, I brought some an overview for you that might be interesting. So we have an existing partnership with the American Board of Surgery that we launched this year. So we got selected, CareSyntax was selected as one of 3 partners to help the American Board of Surgery to integrate video-based skill assessments. And just a bit of background, the American Board of Surgery is a non-for-profit organization, and it basically certifies surgeons, which it calls this diplomats. And these certifications, they are voluntary, but actually they're required to practice in the United States. So the certification and recertification process is very important. And at the moment, there's 31,000 surgeons that are certified by the American Board of Surgery. But, and this is something that also our surgical team will tell you, even the surgeons that are working in the industry for 10 plus years haven't even touched a patient can be recertified quite easily because it's mostly a paper-based process. So basically, you're answering the questionnaire. And this is something that the ABS wants to change. So they want to actually collect data from the surgeons in practice, and the type of data that they want to collect is video. So they want to collect room camera data and endoscopic video data, for example, or depending on the surgery, maybe also robotic data. And they're doing this together with the CareSyntax system. So our CX Advanced system is able to take a lot of different data sets from the surgery and make it available for surgical review. They call it VBA, video-based analysis. And what we're doing now is, or video-based assessment, what we're doing now with them is we're essentially launching that system with a few hundred surgeons that are participating, and they are uploading their procedures into the system, to the CareSyntax system. And then they're also being rated on the OSAT score. So basically, each of these participants will be rated and graded on more than 3 surgical procedures that they provide. that they've done over the last 12 months. And this way, there's more continuous communication and education, as well as certification program that the American Board of Surgery wants to implement. And we think it's a very innovative and interesting approach. And of course, we're open for your feedback as well and your comments on this approach. And maybe it's also something that is relevant for France as well.
Thank you. And the second question and last question for you, Bjoern, why is this partnership from your side with Relyens is important? And I will complete to conclude from my side afterwards.
Yes, so I think we've been working with Relyens and some for some time, and the original vision that we shared, or that CareSyntax developed, was really to change the way that risk is managed in surgery. And when we met with Relyens and with the management of the company, but also with the partner hospitals, we found out that Relyens is really sharing this vision to change the way that surgical risk is measured, is managed, and to influence this also not only with financial tools or with training tools, but also with technological tools. So we can help not on the financial side, or not on the maybe so much on the on some of these other sides, but we can help with our technology platform to do this. So I think it was the alignment of the strategy and the vision, but it was also the fact that Relyen is a mutuelle, so it's basically owned and supported by a lot of hospitals, and that we hope we can combine and bring something very innovative and new to the market by combining a technology solution with a risk management and financial solution to create a package. That was something that is very, I think, interesting and very innovative. And that's how we met in the first place. And now, actually, these days we are now going live, and the first solutions are being implemented. So I'm very happy with the progress.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Et juste pour conclure en français, peut-être de notre part, c'est effectivement, comme l'a indiqué Georges, on a au cours des dernières années été exposé à 63 000 sinistres de responsabilité syndicale dans l'environnement de la chirurgie, et avec un peu d'utopie et un petit peu de volonté. Notre ambition, ce sera vraiment de pouvoir contribuer au travers de payer des indemnisations du fait de ces événements, accompagner l'activité chirurgicale avec ces nouvelles technologies de manière à prévenir les risques. Et c'est quelque part toute l'ambition, avec beaucoup d'humilité et un petit peu d'utopie de ce qu'on essaie de faire aujourd'hui.
Merci beaucoup à tous les deux.
Merci.
Thank you very much, Herr Siemens, Von Siemens. Merci beaucoup, Pierre-Yves Antier. Merci à tous les intervenants. C'était une très très belle séance qui s'est prolongée de façon indue, mais tout à fait légitime. Je repasse la parole à Madame Autran pour faire le mot de conclusion.
Merci beaucoup. Merci encore à l'Académie de chirurgie de nous avoir accueillis pour cette séance. Je retiens finalement une chose qui est assez étonnante, c'est, enfin, pas tellement finalement, c'est que tout le monde est d'accord sur le fait que la chirurgie c'est de la technique, des personnes qui travaillent ensemble en équipe et de la communication ensemble et avec les patients. Donc tous les moyens sont à mettre en œuvre pour faire en sorte que cette triade fonctionne le mieux possible. Et donc, à chaque fois, il y a une solution technologique potentiellement qui peut répondre à un point, et puis de toute façon, veiller à ce que cette solution soit bien comprise par les différentes personnes qui vont l'utiliser, et à ce que les systèmes de communication et d'interaction fonctionnent le mieux possible aussi, donc, en parallèle des solutions technologiques proposées. Merci à tous. Bravo. Vous avez un retard d'une heure que nous avons